Yes, welcome. My name is Val Dufour, and I'm the creator of the experimental method. If you clicked on this video, I'm super pumped for you because you've opened your mind to the possibility of what we're truly capable of. So who am I? I'm an experimental mentor, and I'm an expert at eliminating subconscious mental blocks. I can help you to identify the subconscious limiting beliefs that are holding you back in your life and business, and then create fun and safe psychosocial experiments that allow you to move past them and reach your highest potential. What I'm most passionate about is making a global impact and giving you the tools and processes you need to make a complete paradigm shift and reach your biggest dreams. I'm living my dream. I get to make an impact in people's lives every day. I live in the greatest city in the United States, San Diego, sunny and 70 year round. And I can do my job from anywhere. So if I do decide to travel or move around, I'm not limited. I know that true happiness is a choice, not a circumstance. I also have absolute faith that no matter where we begin from, we can do anything that we set our minds to. See the picture over there? That's me. Homeless, penniless, living on the streets, offering free therapy for handouts and food. And I went there intentionally. I created my dream life using these principles that I'm going to talk to you about in the next 10 minutes. And then I gave it all away so that I could face one of my biggest fears and learn how to teach from experience. So why am I here? 4 years ago, I was in a pretty decent place. I was an officer in the military, and I was a combat helicopter pilot. But I was extremely limited in my belief systems. That year also ended up being the worst year of my life. I ended up getting a DUI, which is hard enough to deal with on its own, but it also effectively ended my career. I went on to go to the shittiest deployment that I've ever been on. And while I was deployed, my mother, the woman in that picture pinning me, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And if you know anything about pancreatic cancer, you know it's one of the top killers. 6 months later, she passed away. There I was, back from deployment, still dealing with my DUI, and my mother passed away in the middle of all of that. I slipped into a depression. I was drinking, I was fighting, I was breaking stuff, I was angry and lost and limited. And eventually I broke. In December of 2013, I did my first experiment. I decided to give up drinking for 30 days. I got really heavy in the gym. And I started reading personal development or self-help books for the first time in my life. First book I read was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That book changed my life. And reading the words on those pages, I had a complete paradigm shift. I knew this stuff was real. I also came to the profound realization that my life's purpose was to teach other people these empowering concepts. I also knew that I had to face my biggest fear, which I'll get into that in just a little bit. So, over the next year and a half, I studied this stuff relentlessly. Books, CDs, seminars, mentors, YouTube, you name it, I was doing it. I lived and breathed this stuff. And it started to work. I started to embody the power of the subconscious to manifest change in every aspect of my life. I went from a tiny 650 square foot apartment to a 1,500 square foot luxury high-rise condo downtown. This was the view from my living room, where I had an entire glass wall. I went from an older two-wheel drive SUV to a convertible Audi S5. And then I said, why stop there? I had a dream car that I planned on getting somewhere around retirement. That same year, I got it. A V10 Audi R8 convertible with an R-tronic transmission. I decided to keep the S5 and turn it into a show car. I worked less, I made more money, my relationships with my friends and my family improved. This is my family. These are my siblings. Look how much fun we're having. I literally manifested positive change in every aspect of my life. And you're gonna love this one. If you've ever seen The Secret, you remember that quirky little English guy? I just started receiving checks in the mail. Well, at the time I discovered these beliefs and saw that movie, all my money was getting direct deposited by the military. But I got out of the military, I got into real estate, and I started getting checks in the mail. And I decided to keep them. That's right. This is $73,000 of checks that I received after watching that movie and embodying that concept. That guy made me laugh a lot. And one of the things I realized in this process is that being in a high vibration, excitement, laughter, feeling good, it's really crucial to programming the subconscious. But I also knew that I still had to face my biggest fear. I had to liquidate everything that I have and give it all away. After I built my dream life, I knew this was my path. So I did just that. This is a picture of a fun little experiment that I did. I took $5,000 out of the bank in $20 bills. And I put it in 50 envelopes, $100 each, with a little note on the front of it that said, if you found this, it's your lucky day. Please take $40 and pay it forward. I put them all over the city, especially in places where I thought people might need them, like the children's section of a thrift shop or discounted food stores or alleyways where any homeless people hung out. It was a lot of fun. Here's a picture of about $3,000 worth of designer clothes and suits that I gave to Goodwill. Well, that was an interesting drop-off as well. And here's one of my favorite ones. I actually donated that custom S5 to a company that took cars as donations, and they actually used it to fund cancer research for children. That was one that I was pretty proud of. After I did all that, I came to San Diego, and I spent 30 days on the streets. Not only to face my biggest fear, but to show that it doesn't matter where you start from. What I learned in this process? I learned that to embody a lot of these mental beliefs, these subconscious mental blocks, to get rid of them, to take on a new persona or release resistance, you need to experience it in your life. So that's where the brand experimental came from. I also learned that facing your fear, it's not only fun and exhilarating in certain respects, depends on what your fears are, but also sometimes behind your biggest fear is your greatest gift. I also learned a lot about subconscious limiting beliefs and how they show up in your life and what you can do to move past them. I learned why a lot of the people don't see the change that they do. And it's because we're all unique. We all have different ways to program, different ways to process. And one of the most valuable lessons I learned is that true happiness really is a choice. I haven't had a bad day since I started going down this path and embodying these beliefs. It's not because bad things don't happen to me. By the way, bad is just a perception. I like to say unexpected. But it's because when things like that happen to me, I can look at them from a different perspective and take something valuable from every situation. So one of my favorite quotes from Napoleon Hill says, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." I put that B, capital, on believe because it's a subconscious belief. That's where a lot of these trainings fall short. And that's what the experimental method helps you to achieve, is to push your thoughts from a conscious belief to a subconscious core belief. Once you embody it at a core level, that's when you start to feel real change in your life. So that's my video. Tell you a little bit about why I did this, what I learned, and I've got a special gift for you today. So if you're watching this, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook, through my email, val.do41@gmail.com, at my website, www.riches to rags. Yes, because I went in reverse. .me, or on my YouTube channel, Val4, and use the code word homeless. I've got a special offer for you. So this is Val4, experimental mentor, signing off. And I just remind you to assume nothing and try everything. I hope this video was valuable for you, and I hope you get something awesome out of your day today. Thanks. Talk to you later.